Alright, we're back and we're still talking about graphing linear equations. And this time we're going to be looking at equations that have this form, y equals something. So there's a y on the left and then some mathematical expression on the right. And a good way to graph this is to make a table of values. Let's look at this example. We're told to graph y equals 2x. So what I'm going to do is make a table of x and y values. So you just write x and y, make a little chart like this, and imagine putting in some values for x into this equation, and then using this little mathematical expression right here, 2 times x, to compute the corresponding values for y. So it works like this. If I put in a 0 for x, then y has to be 2 times 0. 0 goes in there for x, and you can see that y ends up being 0. If I put in a 1 for x right there, then y equals 2 times 1. And 2 times 1 is just 2. And if I put in a 2 for x right there, then y equals 2 times 2, because the value for x right now is 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. And if I put in a 3 right there for x, then y is 2 times 3, which is 6. And I could keep going, but this is enough. What I have here is a bunch of ordered pairs. 0, 0 can be plotted. It's right there. The ordered pair 1, 2 could be plotted. That's 1 on my x-axis and 2 on my y. That's that point right there. The point 2, 4 could be plotted. So that's 2 on my x-axis and 4 on the y-axis. That's that point right there. And the point 3, 6, 3 on my x-axis and 6 on the y. That's that point right there. And you see all these points are forming a line. So I can draw in this line. And you could continue to plot more, but we have enough. We've figured out what the line is. So I'll line my straight edge up here and draw in the line. And again, every single point on that line has x and y coordinates, x and y values, which will satisfy this equation. So this line is a graph of this equation. Okay, here's another example. We're told to graph y equals x minus 4. So again, we set up a little chart with some x and y values, and we're going to imagine putting in a value for x and getting out a value for y. And let's put in some numbers for x that will be easy. We'll put in 0. If 0 goes in right there, then we have negative 0 minus 4, which is just negative 4. So this expression right here tells us what y equals. Y equals this, and it's negative 0 minus 4. So when x is 0, y has to be negative 4. Now let's put in a 1 for x. So if we put in a 1 right there, then we have negative 1 minus 4. And negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. And let's put in a 2 for x. If that's 2 right there, then we have negative 2 minus 4. And negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. So there we have 3 ordered pairs. That's plenty. Let's graph them. 0, negative 4. Where is that point on my xy plane? Well, if x is 0, that means we don't go to the left and right any. And if y is negative 4, we go down 4. And that puts us right there. So we'll plot that point. And the point 1, negative 5, well, we go to the right 1 and down 5. That puts us right there. And then the point 2, negative 6. Well, we go in the x direction 2 and in the y direction negative 6. So 2 horizontally and negative 6 vertically. There we have some points. They're all in a line. We could continue to plot more, but all of them will end up being right on that line. So let's go ahead and draw in the line. That line is a graph of this equation. And again, when the equation is in this form, y equals something, it's pretty natural to set up a little chart like this. We can put in values for x and then do the math here and get out values for y. And you can plot as many as you need and put the points on the xy plane and draw in the line. Here's another example. We're told to graph y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Now when there's a fraction in the equation, you can make your work a little bit easier by choosing certain values of x that are easy to work with the fraction. So watch this. I'm going to put in some values for x and calculate the corresponding values for y. And I'll put in 0. 0 is pretty easy. 1/2 times 0 plus 3 is 3. So the point 0, 3 is on the graph. So that's going to be right here. X is 0 and y is 3. Now let's put in another number for x right here. And I'm going to put in the number 2. I'll just skip the number 1. You don't have to go in order and you don't have to put in any particular numbers. So I'm going to put in 2 because doing this math here, 1/2 times 2 will be pretty easy to do. 1/2 times 2 is just 1, and plus 3 is 4. So when x is 2, y is 4. So now let's plot that point. 2 over in the x direction and up to 4 on the y direction. That gives us this point right there. And now let's put in a value of x is 4. And again, I'm picking numbers that are easy to work with. Because if x is 4, 1/2 times 4 gives me 2, and then plus 3 will give me 5. So when x is 4, y comes out to be 5. So let's find 4 on the x-axis and 5 on the y-axis, and those coordinates give me this point right here. And it looks like I've made a mistake here. This point right here is incorrect. I'm going to erase it. That should have been the point 2, 4, and I plotted the point 1, 4. So let me go back. X equals 2 and y equals 4 gives me this point right here. And it's a good idea to plot 3 points for exactly that reason. I saw that they weren't in a line, and that clued me into the fact that there was a mistake there. So you can plot 3 or more. You could plot even more and make sure they all line up in a line. But we've got it correct now. These are some points. They're all in a line, and let's graph or draw in the entire line here. And that's it. 1/2 x plus 3. That equation is represented by this line in the coordinate plane.